To order. This is the November 28th, 2023 meeting of the Select Board. I'm Beth Cassavant. I'm the chair. We'll take a moment just to introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Teresa Flynn.
Michelle Conlon.
John Samia.
Kevin Mizikar, Town Manager.
Justin Dobson, Assistant to Town Manager.
And Select Board Member Garcia is joining us remotely this evening. So we will have to take all of our votes as roll call votes. So item number 1 is to approve the bills, payrolls, and warrants.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, so I'll start with Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Samia.
Aye.
Ms. Conlon.
Aye.
Mr. Garcia.
You see him on there, Justin?
Mr. Garcia, can you hear us?
Said he can't hear us.
Can't hear us.
Mr. Garcia, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect.
Could you just turn your volume all the way down?
Can we turn down on the screens?
How about now? Is that better?
I don't know if you can hear us now.
Mr. Garcia, can you still hear us?
How's that possible? Justin, what did you do to allow him to hear us?
So it should be picking up straight from the mic.
Right.
Yeah, so he can't hear us again. I can check.
What did you do whenever he was able to hear us, though?
I enable my mic, but that's going to cause the reverb noise because it's picking up this mic and
Yeah.
our mic.
Should we check with SMC?
Yeah, I can do
Is
that.
that mic on? Right in the bottom?
So if I turn that one on, that
If you turn that one on, but turn yours off on your computer.
I think that's SMC's.
Yeah, she needs to unmute that
Yeah,
one.
Just a moment. We'll get there.
Try again.
Mr. Garcia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. I forgot what we're voting on, but I think it was the bills, the payrolls, and the warrants.
Oh, I support that. Yes.
Okay, great. Myself, aye. Item number 2 is to approve the minutes of November 14th, 2023.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Flynn?
Aye.
Mr. Samia?
Aye.
Ms. Conlon?
Aye.
Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Announcements and reports. Are there any announcements this evening from anyone? Okay. Town Manager's report, Mr. Mizikar?
Actually, Ms.
Oh,
President,
back we go.
I noticed last meeting you reminded residents about additional yard waste pickup day is scheduled for this Saturday. I believe it's 8 to noon at the
Town Garage?
Town Garage on South Street.
Good reminder. Okay. Town Manager's report?
Just 3 things. Good evening. Just wanted to let everyone know, as we informed the board earlier in the week, that the project at 33 through 69 Green Street has applied for their special permit, which means they'll be before the ZBA on December 18th, and they'll begin that project. So we have had public outreach session with folks in the area, and this will begin the formal public hearing process on December 18th. So we encourage anyone interested in making comments or following along to do so either at the meeting or by watching the meeting on SMC. Also, just wanted to note that we've provided fiscal year 25 budget guidance to all department heads, and budgets will be due back to the town manager's office on December 22nd, by the end of that day. And finally, the building department has issued the full building permit for 526 Hartford Turnpike, which is the Point at Hills Farm. So the vertical aspect of that construction will begin, if it hasn't already, within the next week or so.
Thank you. Item number 5 is public comment pursuant to Select Board Policy 31 to offer citizens the opportunity to provide public comments during Select Board meetings on matters within the board's authority. No one has requested to participate in public comment this evening, but if someone decides they'd like to do so in the future, just let the office of the Select Board and Town Manager know by noon on the Monday before the meeting. We go on now to new business. Item number 6 is to review and act on the road closure request of Stony Hill Road from J.A. Polito and Sons Incorporated for a gravity sewer installation for 2 days between November 29th, 2023 to November 30th, 2023, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I know that Mr. Polito is here as well to answer any questions that we might have. If you want to come up to the table, that'd be great. And I'm going to turn this over to you because I know there were some resident concerns around this,
Sure.
given the road closure that we approved at our last meeting.
Yeah, so I just want to take the opportunity and talk about the prior road closure, which is unrelated to Mr. Polito's request this evening. But regarding that road closure, earlier today, we found that the contractor who was given prior approval by the board to close that section of Stony Hill Road was working outside of the conditions of that permit. And it had closed the road beyond the time that was provided by the board. So we did shut that project down and revoke their ability to work on public and water sewer infrastructure in the future. And there'll be a meeting with that contractor later this week regarding that matter. They will be permitted with strict oversight of the town to finish restoring that roadway in according with all specifications that they have to do so. So that work will be finished, but at no time will that aspect of the road be closed, especially because of this request that's before you this evening. This request, just in summary, will be for the western edge of western access point to Route 20 along Stony Hill Road. And given the town's experience with Mr. Polito and his business and that working relationship and their understanding of what's required, we don't anticipate any issues associated with this work. And those two things are completely unrelated, the issue that we had with the prior contractor and what's here before you this evening.
Okay. Any questions from board members?
Can you clarify what the contractor did outside? Was it outside of the
They-
permitted hours or days?
Days.
Okay.
Yep.
No questions?
I had a question where I'm looking at the graphics that were provided. Will the residents on Thistle Hill and Deer Run have access to Route 20, or will the road be closed before their streets or after?
Correct. It'll be closed just about at the Route 20 entrance.
Okay.
So they'll have to go out the other entrance, and we'll have signs
Okay.
directing them to do so.
Okay. All right. And will so the area of work is right at Route 20?
Basically, yes.
So, okay. So all of the residents between Thistle Hill and Route 20 will be able to access their homes from the
Correct.
eastern entrance to the
Correct.
neighborhood. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Garcia, do you have any questions?
I do not, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right.
So motion to approve the road closure request for Stony Hill Road from J.A. Polito and Sons, Inc. from November 29th, 2023 to November 30th, 2023, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Flynn?
Aye.
Mr. Samia?
Aye.
Ms. Conlon?
Aye.
Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Oh, excuse me.
Is this something that we can talk as
This-
residents or no?
It's not a public hearing. Can I just finish?
Understand.
Myself, aye. It's not a public hearing, but you're here, and I'm fine if you'd like to ask a question, but I would ask that you come up to the microphone, just so that
Yeah, and
we know who you are and,
yes, my name is Guru Muzumdar. I live on 14 Thistle Hill Drive. And having experienced these last few weeks and months of closures and construction, the real question is there a reason why the closures can't happen after the school bus goes, which is not at 7, but usually is at 8:30? That's really the main request I personally have, because that causes kids to have to go a different place, kids to have to work around different stuff. I know my kids have gotten late to school because of that twice now because of this construction. So that was the only request, and the worries around kids more than adults. So
are you both
Sorry, that
together
wasn't-
with the same question?
No, I haven't. My name is Das Atnur and I live on Thistle Hill Drive. I have a couple of other questions. One is, I know a couple of weeks back, there was a circulation of message stating that both sides of the road will be closed. And there will be police that would be guiding us as to whether we have to take the west side of the entrance or the east side of the entrance. Was there a change in plan, original plan, that was communicated 3 weeks back?
Do you want to take, I'm
Yep.
happy to answer. So I think what you might be referring to is sort of what we were talking about before we started discussing the closure at hand, was that the contractor was working
No,
outside of
not
the
that.
hours.
I'm not there yet.
Not
Yes,
there
that
yet.
is another second confusion that got caused today morning about the closure, which was not planned on the east side of the entrance, which was not planned and not communicated, but the closure did happen. That is the second unplanned event that has happened. So the question is, 3 weeks back we learned that there will be road closures for a specified period of time, which was supposed to be 22nd. It should have happened already. But now we are realizing that it is happening in phases. So I want to understand as to what is the plan. How many such phases will be there, how this is all going to come together.
Sure.
And when the road is reopened, will we still have the plates there, or will the payments be completed for the normal traffic? As you may have realized by now, with the market basket coming there, the traffic there is quite heavy. Making a turn from Thistle into Route 20 is getting harder and harder. And if
Understood.
you leave the plates there, it is going to be disastrous.
So I still think he's talking about the water work.
Yes. So there's two separate things. So the first road closure on the eastern end, there's never any intention for work to be going on at both aspects of the connection to Route 20 at the same time. So the road work for the water connection, which is the eastern edge of the road, was completed. They should have not had the road fully closed beyond the original term that the select board did. When we found out that they'd done that, we stopped that from happening. The road will be fully restored without plates on both aspects when it's done. This is a separate request and separate project for the installation of the sewer infrastructure that's being done through this project, and it will be done within the parameters that the board gave them approval for tomorrow and Wednesday of this week.
Yeah, the done being, I know the road is going to be closed for 2 days. The later on, at that point in time when you open the road, it is all done. And the road is ready for usage without the plates. Is that a fair assumption to make?
Yes.
Yes. And I see Mr. Polito nodding as well.
Yes.
I understand what happened with the water work that we had approved at our last meeting did not go as expected. And that has been addressed. I received a phone call this afternoon, from a resident in the neighborhood that alerted us to the fact that the contractor had started working outside of the parameters agreed to by this board.
Okay.
So that was just unfortunate, and I'm very sorry that it happened, but the town has taken steps to make sure that that work is going to be completed with strict oversight.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, my other question is that as they complete the work, what is the expectation that we can have that they will clean up the roads and
The road will be
in the sense,
restored.
the reason why I'm asking that question is, in the recent month to month and a half, I had a flat tire. Not just me, two other of my neighbors had flat tires. So, are there debris that are causing this flat tire in the neighborhood? It is not just me. I have seen 4 instances in 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks now. And how are we going to kind of plan to address that?
So the road should be restored to the condition that it was in before they started the work. I completely understand how frustrating it is when you're living with construction and you drive over something and you end up with a nail in your tire. You know, we've been there. When the water work was done on North Street, I felt like I had a nail in my tire every other week. I know that that is frustrating, but I can assure you that the town will be overseeing the work that's done and requiring that the road is cleaned up and restored so that it is in the condition that you would expect.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Just to get back to your question about the buses, so the bus company is notified of the change in the road closure, so that they should be able to accommodate. Again, I know that there was challenges because the contractor was working outside of the parameters, so the bus company wouldn't have been aware that the road was being closed past November 22nd. So it has this whole cascading effect when a contractor works outside of the permit requirements.
Yeah, and first of all, thanks for taking our comments. So really appreciate that. My comment was not just about the bus. There are some of us who actually drive our kids there to school, right? And when we do, it takes longer, or it becomes almost impossible to drive through that stuff in any reasonable time frame, and to have to wake the kids up another half an hour earlier just so we can drive is not fair on the kids either. So that's why I was wondering if there's a possibility for it to start a little later.
I definitely
And this has nothing
understand.
to do with this gentleman, it's just general for the project.
Thank you. We'll definitely take that into consideration. My guess is, given the limited daylight, we would want this done in the least number of days, and having to start an hour and a half later would likely prolong the number of days that you had to be inconvenienced for. So, I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that, but that's the way that I would think about it. If you have anything else you want to add.
We also have a moratorium that goes into effect on December 1st for road openings.
Oh, correct, yeah. So there is a moratorium on opening a road after December 1st. So, Mr. Polito here has a lot of incentive to make sure the road is open and closed before December 1st. So there will be no more opening of the road once that date has passed. And I'm very confident that, you know, the work that we're approving this evening will be done in accordance with the permit and as expected. Thank you for being here, Mr. Polito.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
All right, item number 7 is to review and act to establish a 300th anniversary celebration committee. I think this is so exciting that we're finally at this point where we're going to be celebrating the 300th anniversary of Shrewsbury, which was incorporated in 1727. So it may seem like a long way off, but planning these kinds of things does take time. And we are going to be reviewing this evening a draft charge so that we can put the call out for people who might be interested in serving on this committee. And I just want to thank Mr. Dobson for helping out drafting that charge. So we looked at Southborough's 300th anniversary committee and Lexington's 250th anniversary of the Battle of Lexington. I think Mr. Samia also found a couple of other examples as well when he was doing a little research of his own. And so we can take a look at the draft charge and sort of talk through if there's any changes that we want to make, or if we're happy with it as it is. Just for people who might be watching at home, it's basically we're looking for 9 members, understanding that this is going to require several, probably dozens of community members to make it a success. So these 9 members would be responsible for sort of being the steering committee, and then organizing other volunteers in the community who would want to participate in the work behind making our 300th celebration something really spectacular. So I will stop there and see if there are any comments from board members, and hopefully we can get voted on this charge this evening and start advertising for some members. Any comments? Mr. Samia?
So Given our policy 28 about advertising openings, length of term, and I know Lexington has it, a commitment from the date it's commissioned through the end of the 250th anniversary. That may be a long stretch for someone to commit to, but what I'd suggest a minimum of 2 years instead of 1. That way, they'll be reappointed once, presumably, and we'll get through that every year, worried about continuity. That gets me there more comfortably. The other thing that I was tossing around is, do we want to have a certain number of designees from boards and then at-large members? I think the concern that I have is that we've struggled to get enough applicants for at-large positions, and will we get 9 people? So if we can get 2-year commitments, at least we know we'd have 9 people for 2 years. The question that I'm still struggling with a little bit is, will we get 9 people?
Yeah, I hope we get 9 people.
Right.
Yeah.
But definitely for term, I'd go at least 2 years. Rather than commit to 5, I think, or 4, that's a long time, but if we could have a minimum term of 2 years.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I had the same reaction on the terms, so I think that's a good idea. I do hope we get enough people, but I agree. I think my question was sort of who's sort of running point. I know we'll appoint a chair, but I do think this is going to require some significant town oversight just to keep everything moving. And it probably would help people if we maybe clarify the expectations around meeting times. I mean, this says that we want at least 3 community meetings within the first 18 months. But if I'm applying, am I meeting once a week? Am I meeting once a month? Am I meeting once a quarter? So I think clarifying.
I took that differently. So maybe it needs to be clarified. So the members, the 9 members, are going to decide on their own what day and time they're going to meet. What we're looking for with the 3 meetings is like public comment.
Understood. Okay, so
that
we're going to leave
is-
full discretion to them on how frequently they want to meet.
Correct.
Okay.
So if that's not clear, we need to make that clear. Maybe we needed to say, like, community outreach meetings or something.
I knew the 3 meetings were community outreach meetings. I meant more the general committee meetings, how frequently those were going to be, so, but you answered.
I just had a question. Sort of the nature of this committee is different than our normal, standing committees, and was just curious if the, sort of the criteria generally is you cannot serve on more than one. So, if we would have designees from other committees, or if it's, if there's an exemption to that rule for this.
That's a really good question. I think whereas this is a committee that is for a finite amount of time, that it doesn't apply, that you can't be on this and something else. Correct? I'm right on that, I think. Ad hoc committee,
It's an ad hoc committee.
right? So I think it's fine.
I will just say anecdotally, more people have asked me about when this committee's gonna be
Same.
formed than any other committee.
It's so true.
It's a party.
So,
It's
yeah,
a party
it is.
planning committee. I think it's also important just to note that there's a fundraising aspect to this. So while we may at some point decide to dedicate some town dollars to like the startup of this, there's going to be some fundraising that has to happen if we want to have an excellent celebration. So if there's someone out there who's good at fundraising, this might be for them. Any other questions or comments on this? And are we comfortable with it? I know that Mr. Dobson's making some changes in real time that you can kind of see it happening on the screen.
With a 2-year term, would theoretically all members would be up for reelection at the same, or
Reappointment at the same
reappointment at
time.
the same time. So are there concerns about that?
Yeah, I mean, what I see is that, thought about staggering, but it's such a short period of time. If
Yeah.
you go then 1, then 2, then they're only gonna have 2, and then they have to go again.
Yeah.
So it's a great question, because that's what we do, right? We stagger it so you have that, not everyone rolling off at the same time. I think because this is a finite period of time, there's no perfect way to do it, but it allows someone to jump off after 2 years if they have other commitments, but only have to do it once, so we'll have continuity is the hope. But generally, yeah, I'd agree with that, but here it's like, then they'd be reappointed 3 times, and I think it'd make it harder.
Yeah.
So, 2 years, at least allows folks to jump off. But yes, 9 at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
So if we put this out, we need to choose a date by which applications need to be submitted. And again, like, I know we always ask for, you know, a resume and a letter of interest. You know, for something like this, I'm certainly more interested in the letter of interest. So I don't want the resume piece of it to be, you know, a deterrent to people. You know, submit it, please, but we're not looking for any specific skill sets here, except for people who really want to celebrate our 300th. And I think that there could be something for everyone. Probably, given that it's just about December, I don't know how long we want to wait. Probably give 6 weeks. Get us through the holidays. I just don't think people are as tuned in. So what would that bring us to? The calendar.
Just target your appointments, your second meeting in January.
Second meeting in January would be the
26th.
January?
January
23rd?
23rd.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
That's
looking
okay.
at December.
January 23rd.
So would that be,
So if we want to
Resumes.
make the appointments, then we would want the letters of interest in by the 16th, I would
A
think.
week prior.
Right, a week prior.
Oh.
So just
You might want to give yourself a little bit more time in case you
in
want
case
to
we
talk
get like
with them.
25.
Yep.
Okay, how about the 12th?
Yeah.
12th work? January 12th? All right. It's exciting. I've been waiting for this. All right, then I will take a motion to establish a 300th anniversary committee.
Motion to establish a 300th anniversary celebration committee with a charge as presented and amended.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Samia,
Aye.
Ms. Conlon,
aye?
Mr. Garcia,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Okay, item number 8 is to review and act on the extension of Select Board Policy 25, which is the water and sewer bill partial abatement policy. And just as a reminder, this came about when we were struggling with discolored water, sediment in water, as a way to formalize the response to residents who came forward saying that, you know, my water was brown, my water had sediment. The remedy for it was to flush the pipes at my house, and now my water bill is 3 times more than it should be. So when we revisited this last year, Mr. Rowley confirmed that in the past 2 years, there have been no claims submitted. And then he also has confirmed that in the past year, there have been no claims submitted. So now it's 3 years without a claim for damages arising from discolored water. His recommendation is that we discontinue the policy, understanding that if there were to be an issue on a case-by-case basis, that would be dealt with the individual resident. So thoughts or comments on this?
I mean, I recall when it came before us last year, and we were pretty much in line to discontinue it, but decided to wait one more year, and we've waited another year, and there haven't been any claims. It's one of those things where no harm if you just continue it, but as long as we would give consideration if, you know, we need to bring it back, or, you know, a resident had a particular issue, I think it's fine to discontinue.
Yeah, fine with that. This was the discussion we had a year ago. Let's give it one more year, be conservative. We were conservative in 3 years in a row without a claim.
Right.
So.
Okay. Mr. Garcia, any concerns?
No concerns here, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, then I will take a motion.
Motion to discontinue Select Board Policy 25, water and sewer bill partial abatements.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Samia,
Aye.
Ms. Conlon,
Aye.
Mr. Garcia,
Aye.
myself, aye. Item number 9 is to review and vote to ratify the chair's signature on the FY24 Municipal Energy Technical Assistance Grant Program. So this is sort of a formality, because I had to sign it like last week, and now we need to ratify my signature so that this grant application can be submitted. Some of the The funding, if we receive the grant, would be to conduct an assessment to explore a community shared solar system on private or public property. And the assessment would fund a comprehensive evaluation to construct rooftop solar on public buildings, preliminary rooftop solar system design, and a recommendation on best practices to enable a community shared solar system. So, just, I think a great initiative. It's in line with our climate action and resiliency plan. I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to add on this?
Motion to ratify the chair's signature.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Samia?
Aye.
Ms. Conlon?
Aye.
Mr. Garcia?
Aye.
Myself, aye. All right, that brings us to correspondence. We have an email dated November 14th, 2023, from Keith Elms, who's the Animal Control Officer, regarding the quarterly return on the annual warrant for the period of July 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2023. So it basically is the quarterly update on his work in the community. There's 3,115 dogs licensed in Shrewsbury. I took that away as an interesting number. Item number 11 is an email dated November 15th, 2023 from Lawrence Allen, 21 Point Rock Drive, Worcester, regarding a jet ski issue on Lake Quinsigamon and Flint Pond. Mr. Allen was just offering his opinion on what's happening on the lake, having attended the Lake Quinsigamon Commission's public hearing on the jet skis on Lake Quinsig. And then working with the manager, I crafted a response, which you'll find in your drive, just letting him know that the chief of police is working on a plan to address the issues on Lake Quinsigamon regarding jet skis, along with the Lake Quinsigamon Commission. And it's something that we're all very much aware of and working towards some sort of resolution to maintain the peacefulness of the lake for the residents that live there, but also allow it to be enjoyed by people who don't live in the community. Item number 12 is an email dated November 20th, 2023 from Deborah A. Wagner, Director of Accounts, Massachusetts Department of Revenue, regarding tax rate approval notification in Shrewsbury 2024. Just as a note, the final tax rate is $12.38 per thousand, which is a penny less than what was estimated. And item number 13 is a letter dated November 20th, 2023, from Dorothy A. McGlincy, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, regarding Aaliyah Casso, who completed the MACC Fundamentals for Massachusetts Conservation Commissioners Training Program. Aaliyah has been in the town's conservation department as our conservation agent for a year now, and congratulations on completing this development, professional development, and all the work that is being done on behalf of the Conservation Commission. That is it. Is there anything else to come before the board in open session? Okay, then I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Flynn,
Aye.
Mr. Samia,
Aye.
Ms. Conlon,
Aye.
Mr. Garcia,
Aye.
myself, aye. This meeting is adjourned. Good evening.
Thank you.